guys, I'm Siobhan and I'm reporting on behalf of the Noise Gate. We are back in Liverpool today and this is going to be a really special interview for you guys. I'm here with Craig, aka Phutek, and we are we are going to chat about a number of things that have been going on recently. So firstly, for our viewers, I'd just like to start by mentioning that today nearly marks the anniversary of Tony De Vit. Now Phutek, let's chat a little bit more about that if you don't mind. This Monday will be the 20th anniversary of legendary British DJ Tony De Vit's tragic passing at the age of just 40. Arguably the biggest driving force behind the hard house scene, which has blown up across the country at the time. He inspired a generation of DJs and promoters, and his sound can be heard in thousands of records. For someone who had the privilege of calling him a friend, can you tell the younger generation of clubbers for us what kind of man he was, and if even possible, explain how much of an impact he had on music that they listen to today?
Yeah, Tony was, as you know, I've been around from the start, from nearly the start, the sort of middle of the rave scene, 92, so I've met quite a lot of artists, and he comes up there with the very best that I've met in terms of not just his musical talent, his persona, his passion, and his humbleness, which is really, really important. You know, don't normally go on record saying this, but it is a big factor of Tony was his humbleness. It was the way I met him, you know. A lot of these bigger DJs, you know, sort of turn themselves off in general, and only sort of speak to people in the higher rounds and trying to avoid and something. He had time for everyone. But more importantly, yes, he championed a sound that was always closed off. In the gay clubs originally, that was where he sort of started his trade before he became a household name kind of thing. And the most special thing was just before he died, he broke into the mainstream and made like the gay and heterosexual people bring them together within the gay scene. And then he was like the first person to sort of bring out the tougher new energy sound that was always rife in the gay clubs, like Trade and Tintin's of his hometown, DTPM. He sort of edged it into the mainstream, and he brought a sound in. But like I say, you know, people close to him, his family and his friends, who I still keep in touch with. You know, when we get asked these things, especially this later on, as you say, to let the younger generation know. Yeah, he was a big part of the hard house scene coming through, more so after he passed away on the back end of his thing. But if you really know Tony, one of the other special things about him was he played everything. You know, he just played it a little bit faster and pitched up than you know, other DJs, especially coming from the scene. You know, you listen to a lot of his track lists, especially on the albums that he was on. They were tracks that people like Sefton and Tall Paul, who were sort of his peers around him at the time, were playing quite a lot of tracks. He just knew how to build an energy that was different, and that was another magical thing about him. You know, like as I first became friends with him and he became an inspiration, it was, you just knew he'd come on the decks. He brought his first mix. It was, I used to say to each other amongst his friends, or before even knowing, Tony De Vit's on. You know, you could be sitting on the toilet and you just hear like, it was like, has he asked the sound engineer of the club to turn the amps up?
Yeah.
So there were so many special things about him, and he definitely had an impact on me and a lot of other people that I've stayed friends with who were also DJs as well, like Fergie. And a lot of the older people will know how he brought Fergie over back in the day, and look at who, you know, what he achieved, ended up on Radio 1, and the time he had for people as well, which is another part of, you know, how I became friends. If he knew you were passionate about music, he'd sense it straight away, and he'd speak to you just like any old person. You know, he never was up himself, no matter what stage or status he was at, and that was brilliant. That was one of the brilliant things about him.
With a lot of artists as well, it is about being humble in the industry. It is. People as well. It is. It's plateaued and changed over the years. You know, I could talk of certain areas where you know, bigger names DJs, nearly all of them were stuck up, but there's some nice guys out there. And that's certainly one thing that I do. You know, without actually, you know, putting it out there to people. I still to this day, I mean, I'm nowhere near as big as Tony De Vit. But it's part of something that Tony installed in me,
you know, pretty much every night from 11 till 1 in the morning, I'm still answering, you know, young kids that hit me up on my artist page on Facebook and giving them my time. Sometimes some get more, and that's because if I recognise that similarities to where I was in their words, you sort of you notice that. I remember when I was at that stage, and I remember it took me 2 years for someone to actually answer me back that I valued, and I'll try to do it to as many, up and coming young lads or girls. Artists,
industry as well. A lot of people are losing that faith in the industry at the moment, so that's a good thing.
And that was another good thing about Tony. I remember once, he was sort of saying it was using Fergie as the example, but I was just in the company, and Fergie just sort of started to have his rise. If I remember rightly, it was at an Emporium night. I think it might have been the first time, and Fergie had his first UK girlfriend, and I didn't actually notice on the night, but Tony did. And when we got back to his house, he turned around and he sort of like turned into a father mode that you wouldn't see out in the public. And he's like, sort of said, talked Fergie's girlfriend down and said, "You can't be bothered with these girls wanting to kiss him and see him. He's got you got to appreciate these people live a week to see him. You got to be cool with that because they might have his posters on the wall. He's got to make everybody feel like he likes everybody that's his fans." And he stamped on it, and it was cool, man. And he was right. You've got to have time. Got to have time for your fans because, especially in the 90s, you lived for the weekends. And you would follow people like Tony all around the country. So you've got to give, even if it's a wave while you're DJing,
Definitely.
And he did more. I remember times walking into Sunday Central at Pulse. And he always used to have an entourage. Follow him around because he used to do so many gigs and that, and we'd be all going in the car like before we even got into the club. Tony, you're cutting it short, we're going to have you jump out the car or whatever. But that didn't matter to him. So, one specific time he went on the deck sometimes 15 minutes later because anyone that would stop him, he wouldn't turn around, and even if it was a hello or a photograph, and that was unique.
You've led me on really well actually to the next question, because with the explosion of EDM, obviously particularly in the US, many of our younger readers will be familiar with the name Fergie, which you just mentioned. And we're not talking about the Black Eyed Peas Fergie here, right? Okay, guys? We're talking about the Northern Irish DJ who Tony took under his wing as a young boy, and he became his adopted father, pretty much, and he taught him how to DJ, which led on to Fergie, becoming such a legendary DJ in his own right. And the story is both heartwarming and fascinating for all of us. But we understand that obviously you had a big massive part to play in this as well. So can you recall any of those stories from these days?
Just to put, you're right a little bit on, your information was bang on there. Actually, he didn't really teach Fergie how to DJ. The thing that excited Tony when he met him at a gig in Belfast, if I remember rightly, the story goes, he asked Fergie's mum's permission in the car park after watching Fergie play on a milk crate before him, and he was that astonished that the technique he used was very similar to him for a young lad. It blew his mind. So he actually was, he was already a DJ. It was how he DJ'd a certain sort of, anal style that Tony sort of like shared with his friends and artists. Not touching the platter on the techniques, always riding the pitch. Once you sent that record, and Fergie had that in his makeup at the time, and to go from that, how I met Fergie the very next day after Tony brought him over from Belfast. I was at Sunday Central. I was a little bit of a mess. I was in my extreme youth, sitting down on the mental carpet of the fun ground that it was at Pulse. And he come in the door, and there was a long corridor to the thing, and he just led down to me straight away. I didn't even see him come in, and I was rattling away to someone, and he's gone, "Craig, I need a favour off you." And I'm sure he only meant maybe for the day or here and there. He says, "I need you to." He goes, "You're streetwise, Birmingham and this area well." It goes like, "I brought this young lad over. I'm going to try and get Madders to get him on the decks, even if it's for a couple of mixes. Really, really special. But he's only young." He says, "Can you look after him for whenever I'm not around?" And literally, like, to cut a long story short, from that minute, he sort of passed Fergie over to me. We hit it off our personality straight away. We're both cheeky chappies. And we've stayed friends, even though he's like, in Vegas now, we're still very much in contact. But I think from that time, for a good 7 to 8 years, I had quite a bit of power in the Midlands. I was promoting nights, or I was residence on nights, and you know, I helped embed him in quite a lot of gigs, and we went on a musical journey together. Our tastes were similar. You know, we went record shopping in them days, the length and breadth of the country together, and yeah, we did was a really good friend, and still is. Yeah, man.
Well, that's what I was just going to say, because obviously you and Fergie have remained friends this day. And so how would you describe his development, obviously from a teenager playing hard house and trance in the big UK clubs, you know, we've got Kitchen, etc., to his current status now in the scene, and also just generally, what's he like as a bloke, you know?
He's a cheeky chappy at that. With age, he's got a little bit more chilled, but he was, as most people who met him, especially in the late 90s, 2000s, when he was a big status in the UK. He was, and it was a trait that a lot of DJs have. I know quite a lot of DJs that actually ain't great DJs, but they've got brilliant personalities, and you know, a lot of you young kids need to know this, because on the other side of the tip, I know a lot of brilliant producers and DJs that never leave their bedroom and wonder why they don't get anywhere. So, you know, I would strongly say, you know, personality, getting out there, networking, especially in this day and age, is a massive slice to the cake. But yeah, fair play to him. He got a lot of stick because obviously, because Tony unfortunately passed away, that scene, not everybody, you know, because it's such a big wide thing to say, but in generalisation, expected him to fill Tony's boots, and he aspired to go bigger places because unfortunately, as big as Hard House had a boom, I don't remember the night well. I think he was either Sunday Central or Polysexual 10 at Gatecrasher Summer Sound System. I think it was the one where it was really sunny and everyone watched the England beat Germany 5-1.
Germany,
And we were sitting in a sort of green room sort of area, and he just finished, I think, headlining the Sunday Central or Polysexual 10. And there was Tall Paul and his manager Sasha, I think, at the time. And he was just so forward thinking, he just turned around and said, like, I want to be in there, and he pointed to like the main Gatecrasher arena. And he said it in front of the right people at the right time, and within a year he actually was there, and you know, he rolled again. So fair play to him, and you know, he's took some stick along the way, but and there's other DJs like Lisa Lashes as well, who's a good friend. She's found it really hard to change with the times.
Trance to the techno.
And take some stick for it. But you know, I hear, I weren't part of this conversation, but I've heard it off Carl Cox and Lisa, because she was considering about rebranding herself and she wanted to get into techno. And he says, why should you?
He took her on a little bit, hasn't he, on his wing?
And what Carl said there, and it's good to document this, especially if people are listening, especially them anal people that think that you have to play one music. He's played hardcore, he's played drum and bass.
Back in the day,
you know, techno, house, you can even play tribal house back in the day, main room of, you know, and the last year of Space IB, he played quite a lot of tech house, week in, week out on Be Out TV. So he's, you know, Carl's answer, apparently, I wasn't part of the conversation, but I've heard Lisa and Carl mention it because it's quite a big discussion about how people get pigeonholed and stereotyped. He says, well, what if I can do it, why can't others? But unfortunately, I think, you know, for Fergie and Lisa, don't know why, but there's been a big stigma, I think, through the noughties decade about what hard house was. It was really, really cool, and you know, when it sort of blew up mid-90s to late 90s, and they were, after Tony passed, sort of labelled the king and queen of hard house. And I think, you know, the people that of the genres that he tried to move into,
they didn't like it.
Well, they just couldn't drop that thought. It was like a poisonous thing, and they found it difficult. But both of them are still doing well, and they're still doing bits. And you know, just crack on. As long as you're passionate, it should be about what you're passionate about. What people got to understand about is,
definitely.
and I'm a big person to sort of point this out. The more you're into music, the faster you go up what I call a musical ladder. So, you know, I will say, and I say this tongue in cheek, all roads lead to techno. At the top of that step is techno. And I can prove like loads of little stories like that. I mean, the last couple of times I've heard Sasha and Digweed, that are normally pioneers of new sounds over the years, they've played techno sets, or quite a lot of techno in their sets. So everyone just has to appreciate, the more passionate you are, that your tastes change. And you can't stick, you know, Lisa and Fergie couldn't ever stick in hard house if that's not what they're into, because part of being a great artist is enjoying what you do. and being passionate about.
Kind of growing with age, you know, our qualities and our taste in food, and lots of things change as we progress, and I think it's the same thing with music.
Yeah, man.
You know, that
most
progression
definitely
is something that we just kind of have to take on board and adapt to, and you do or you don't, and the staying humble thing is definitely a big point, because even Lisa Lashes I've seen recently has been doing a lot of things with children.
Yeah,
you know, the schemes to kind of get them up-and-coming DJs, to get them interested, and it's a good thing, you know, to be helping other people and reaching out. And
yeah, you did right. It's worth mentioning. Yeah, Lisa's just got some funding for to do a DJ academy, which is really cool. And
I love that.
Yeah, it is, because you know there's a lot of youngsters out there that are looking for that door to open, or they're trying to let their talent shine. And something like that is a brilliant sort of stepping stone. And the advice that you know, I would definitely say, if you see it coming in your town, I think she's starting in Northampton as a base camp for the first one, and then hoping if it's successful, it's going to go elsewhere. So guys, if you see it, definitely take it up. I mean, I've been asked to be part of it, and I'm certainly happy. You know, on the production side and a DJ side, I've told Lisa she's got my support. You know, I'll fit it somewhere. You know, do some seminars or classes or whatever it takes.
That's an amazing thing for a lot of people that want to get into the industry as well.
Yeah, like and it's needed more these days. It's harder because it's so oversaturated. In the 90s, you know, there was a lot of people doing it, but now there's, you know, times 10,000. Everyone wants to be a DJ.
Of course, it's like footballers. I want to be a footballer. You've got to put the effort in, and you've got to kind of take on board these approaches that people are offering you, these opportunities, and definitely it's a good thing. So I'm going to go on now to Tony a little bit more before we move on. So 1 week today, in remembrance of Tony, some of the hardest hard trance DJs in history, including yourself and Fergie, are coming together in one place for what's meant to be the biggest party of a harder generation. So many of these DJs have not played together for years, as you know, and a few of them have even hung up their headphones some time ago. Their music and the clubbers of their generation have moved on. So the chance of seeing them all back in action again is going to be pretty mind-blowing, I think.
Definitely.
As one of the DJs on the lineup, as Phutek will be, how does it feel to be part of such a special and yet, say, you know, historic event, really?
I didn't expect to be on the lineup, even though I have every right to be, I think, at the moment, because of my friendship with Tony. But obviously, because Tiny Tracks sort of hosted it, I've never really been affiliated to them, so I totally would have understood if I weren't. But I'm also very grateful that I am on it, mainly because this is sort of like what I'm about to bring out now. Is a discussion that I had with Tony's closest people, his sister and his ex-boyfriend Andy. I'd like to think that on that lineup there's nearly everybody will well and truly represent Tony's sound across the board. But what they like about me is, and this is just a guesswork because it's 20 years ago, is what I make and play would probably is the closest to what Tony probably would be playing himself now, because he was way going too big for where Hard House has ended up. Some might argue that he would have kept it, you know, bubbling a little bit bigger and took it, but me knowing Tony, he had a guilty passion for techno already. His trade sets were full of it, and I pretty much with where we are now, we can say these Awakenings and Cocoons, he would have wanted to play at them, and he was good enough back then, let alone 20 more years on top with that wicked personality, that production skill he had, and I'm pretty confident he would be where I'm trying to get to, next to Carl Cox and Beyer and the likes of, finishing them parties off. They were, you know, that's where he was. His sound, you know, he was synonymous to be the DJ that finished the night off with fire, kind of thing. So and that was nice to hear that, because you know it's not something I want to say, but it's something that I'd like to think in myself. So to have, you know, the sister and his closest friends sort of say that, and that's what I'm going to try and bring to the night, because I'm pretty certain a lot of the DJs are going to cover Tony's sound, his tracks and that through the three arenas. I'm going to I've got a little bit of a special set. I've re-edited quite a few of his tracks. I've seen recently you re-edited The Dawn. That's an official remix, that one is. So you're going to be featuring that on the night? I suppose I have to. Because it's been, you know, the label that's took it on, you know, they're quite a big label and do things right. and no one's really heard it apart from a couple of people that have sat in my living room or studio. So yeah, it seems the right place to drop it. And Signum are on after me, so because it's got the melodic trance element, it could be one of my last couple of tracks, I suppose, just to set it up for Signum.
Sounds good.
Yeah, man, definitely.
That's brilliant. We're going to move on a little bit now as well, because I know you've been very busy. I've been following Phutek online. The Noise Gate has been following for a little while actually. So I want to talk to you a little bit about Bradley Gunn Raver.
Okay.
So now
Great
this
guy.
lad has stormed the internet. He has pretty much gone viral with his videos, as you know. He goes across the country raving. He has his slogan, was it live life?
Love life and rave.
Love life and rave.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you haven't seen him already, then definitely check him out. He's on YouTube, by the way, and his story of raving is actually pretty amazing and also really heartwarming because Bradley actually suffers from Asperger's syndrome, and he's very open about this as well, isn't he? Before raving, he says that he used to not be very confident, in himself, because he used to not like socialising. He quite felt isolated and alienated. But however, the rave for Bradley, as he says, has helped him and
become his medicine.
Become his medicine basically. And you've been working with him a lot, took him under your wing, and now you call him a friend. So I'd like you to give us a little bit more insight, if you can, into what you two have been up to, other than what we already know, what we've been following you, and maybe what you've got coming up in the future together. Maybe something.
I met Bradley. I was fortunate enough to get asked to play for Awakening's debut in England at Manchester at the Victoria Warehouse. And I just spotted him, 10 minutes into my set. Like, he dances faster and harder and wilder than
anybody.
And he obviously had his slogan that stands out, and he's always at the front, and he just like he has from everyone since this, because through being friends with him, he told me that was like at the early start of his little journey. I think he said it was about the 3rd or 4th rave when he met me, and I got took away, which annoyed me really, because in case he moved rooms, I didn't want to miss him, because I did lock onto him.
His energy is amazing.
Unfortunately, he was still around the same area, even though I'd been interviewed out back after my set, and I just went up to him, and my partner at the time, she was quite a similar dancer. She used to be a dancer, and she was still raving with him, and I was quite uncanny. She sort of and I just said hello to him. I said thanks for that. I goes, it really helps put you in the zone, seeing people as a DJ, and he introduced himself and whatnot, and I kind of noticed straight away, because it didn't represent his energy and his dancing, that he had maybe ADHD or Asperger's or some form, because I've got a niece who I've helped bring up for the last 20 years, so I'm quite familiarised with some of the signs that you can see, but at that point then I only in the back of my mind thing, and then just by chance, and it's quite a spiritual story, we didn't swap numbers or anything. I kept bumping into him at more of my gigs, or even stuff that I was just networking at, or parties at different parts of the country nearly every weekend, and
he was there, and
our friendship just built up because we remembered each other, and I'd say hi, and he'd say hi, and that went on for about a year and a half, and then eventually through Facebook and that we talked more and more, and that like you said, I've slowly, without realising, became like a little bit of a big brother kind of thing for him, and because he was entering the world and I could see it, and he was asking me all these questions, and promoters were getting in touch with him, and he was like, they're offering me money, and I was like, and he didn't want to do it for that, and then fast forward through that stage, just after Christmas this year, I was looking at what my plans were and that, and speaking to my team, and he just threw a big spanner in the works to what we'd just sort of planned for the first. And he went, hi Craig, on a message, as he does. He says, I think I need your help, and he goes, I've wrote some words, can I share them with you, but they're only for your eyes only, as he does. He's really professional and acute like that, which I love about him.
It's fullness again, like you said.
And I didn't know what to expect, because I knew he didn't have no production or lyrical experience, and I went, yeah, sure, send it over. He goes, if I do though, I want to feel that you're interested, in actually helping me put these words into a track. And I went, well, I'll need to read what they are first, because it could be just a few. And he sent me over these words, and I was like, wow,
He's amazing.
In a quarter of a century of being in studios.
Okay.
This is as close to maybe. The first thing that jumped out at me was Insomnia by Faithless.
Yeah.
And away from me being a techno now, I've moved across through a lot of sounds. I was just like, mate, there's so many things you could do with this. It's magical. I'm not even hearing it, I'm reading it. And he went, well, I've picked you to do it because out of everybody I've listened to, you know, recently and into our time, so much about me is energy. He says, your techno, it's always got energy in it. And he goes, are you up for it? And I went, okay. And the actual original passage of words he passed me were way too many, even though they were great and they all flowed. And I said, would you mind me, before we even meet up and discuss any further, because he lives at Bristol Way and I was in the Midlands, doing a little bit of an edit and a rebuffer of these words, because if you are quite adamant that this is going into a techno track, techno doesn't really have that many words at all. I says, and you've got almost, you know, like a biblical,
it's poetry.
It was like verse after verse. Aww. And he says, yeah, cool, and he rolled with that. And then as soon as I sort of showing him aside, he ummed and ahed a bit because he likes to keep things as original to his idea as possible. And I just said, you're going to have to bend with me being, you know, the producer with the experience. And he got that straight away. And I says, right, the best thing to do is, and I went straight into my diary on another phone call. It's all happened over a few days. I said, come up for 2 or 3 days. It'll take a day to get the vocal processing done. Got him in, and he actually come over for a day, 4 days in total. A day at my home studio. I'd already started putting some stuff together, you know, the 8 weeks before he actually come over to make it easier. And he's like, I think it was the second little groove loop that I sent him. He went, that's the style.
He loved
it. And it happened to be the most easiest one out of all the ones I'd done, because a lot of the others were touching on other genres. And we made it work, I think. And I don't know if you know, there's only a 1 minute clip out there at the minute, and everyone's going.
So this has not been released yet, then, no?
No, there's a video though. If you look deep enough at the International Music Summit, Bradley.
I was going to talk to you about that, because that must have boosted his confidence a lot, because he did a massive speech, and I watched that actually.
He did so well, because he said to me before he went, this environment is like his actual worst fear.
Oh God, yeah.
To be on stage.
Yeah.
And he nailed it, bless him. It took him a couple of minutes. But what was cheeky, nice little story to share with you that I've not seen anyone else pick up on it.
Okay.
The actual person, I forget his name now, I think he's Mixmax Global editor that was interviewing him. He did, apparently, sorry if I've got this slightly wrong, but something like this, he didn't tell Nick, I think his name is, that he was going to do this. He got in touch with the media team around Nick and said, at the end of my half-an-hour slot, I want you to put something onto a projector, and I'm going to sort of stop the chat and go, I've got a special announcement for you.
Oh, really?
And so he surprised the main guy who's interviewing him and put up a minute, which is like the main breakdown of the track. And it's caused a massive stir. And that's about as much as I can say about it at the minute. There's a little bit of a tingle-tangle going on about what label it's going on, and that's where we're at the minute, and we're just taking our time. And even though I'm guiding Bradley with my experience dealing with labels, I'm trying to let him have just as much as big say so, because it's so important to him. It's his message. I've just helped him put it into music. He's really good at, you know, social media and marketing, you know, away from him sort of being labelled with, you know.
Well, there's too much stigma with mental health nowadays, as we know, and it's really great to see you take him under your wing. And
yeah, man.
It's a nice thing to help people out.
It was easy, and actually was an honour to me, because if you follow Bradley's story, he's hanging out with Sex Troxler.
It's amazing.
He's everything. Beyer, he's had dinner with Nina Kraviz. You know, so for him to come to me, I was like, wow, and he was like, you know, and I was, you know, he didn't get it, and I was like, wow, it's like means a lot that you've asked me. And just that on its own, you know, away from, you know, doing someone a favour, it was his talent and his words. You know, if I'd have read them words and didn't feel it, I'm a professional enough to say, Bradley, have another go at doing it. You know, I'm not feeling that, but I'm telling you now, in a quarter of a century, I've had so many people send me lyrics, and there's been some good bits over the years, but that was...
Wow.
And you'll see when you hear the track.
I'm excited, we're excited. So not only Bradley Gunn Raver, sorry, nearly said it all wrong there. But we've seen you been hanging a lot out with Carl Cox recently. How does this make you feel? Like, you know, Carl Cox is up there and he's blasting out your tracks. So
it is the ultimate. It's
dream.
Yeah, when you think about it in like the early days, and you do dream, or what if that happened? You imagine it to be, in my experience, you imagine it to actually be a lot more sort of like, I'm not trying to play down it, but spectacular, like, you know, flags and party balloons going off and everything in your head.
Bang.
It actually is like, it's like a sort of like car crash kind of shock feeling still to this day.
Yeah.
You know, Carl's been supporting my stuff and signed a couple of my stuff to his label for, I think it's about 5 years now. Burning Man in 2011 was the first time, you know, I found out he's playing my tracks. But it's worth mentioning, out of all the ones, I mean, he plays all my stuff at all the biggest parties.
I noticed.
But it makes sense to me because I always have Carl and Tony in mind when I'm in the studio, not primarily. They you know, De Vit, Cox and Depeche Mode, it's my inspiration t-shirt. I have them in mind because obviously, you know, they have been my main inspirations across electronic music from day dot. So part of the plan is working. You know, me as an artist, as Phutek, you know, wanted to be booked for a DJ is the Tony De Vit ethos I spoke earlier. You know, my main aim is that, you know, in a few years' time or whatever, that any promoter can't think of anybody else other than me to finish off a big techno party like they did with Tony. And the Carl Cox side of it is, you know, his ethos and his energy behind the thing, you know, his music, you know, he always plays something different, and that's what I try to do. I don't follow the techno loop. I've probably got, you know, a lot of haters for it because I'm not Beatport top 10, but I move outside of that. For me, it's my journey, where I'm at. I don't judge music where it is. I keep it to myself, and it will always sort Carl Cox's vibe, because, you know, I make big room techno for the big events, and that's where he plays. I think once I got a pinch off him, I've just been lucky enough, you know, to keep in contact, and obviously through signing on the label, we've become closer, and more time we spend, the better friends we've become. So I'm a very lucky guy, and you know,
I've heard a lot of really good things about him, and everything I see on screen about Carl Cox is same as what you said about being humble. He seems one of those kind of guys to me, and I don't know if you agree, that, you know, has a lot of time for everybody, and he does. I've had a lot of friends in Ibiza that have been for dinner with him, and, you know, they're not nobody, but, you know, he has time for everybody, I think.
Him and Tony, two are people I can count on probably four fingers that have got that special humbleness, that are right at the top of their games. And it doesn't matter if you stop and speak to them, you don't feel no uncomfortableness. You know, they'll give you a time.
I've not personally met Carl Cox, but from watching the documentaries and from what I've heard and from seeing him online and, you know, going to his gigs and stuff, I can definitely get that feel as well. Yeah,
man. I think it's a big part of, you know, Carl Cox's armoury, without him realising it. That we were speaking about Tony as well. And it would have helped Tony been as great as him, I think, if he did still alive, is his humbleness, his politeness. You know, I've never seen him bitch about anyone, or, you know, and even when I've seen conversations being brought up that, you know, normally DJs or artists would like want to say their opinion of, he just sits there and smiles, and, you know,
always looks such a happy chappy.
He is. He's just a big gentle giant. Yeah, he's a great guy.
So also, while we're on the topic of Carl Cox, why is it that you think Carl Cox has been actually supporting a lot of your tracks, really?
Well, first time I ever met him in person, Albert Hall in Manchester, after he just played Manchester Girl. There's a terminology that's quite close to me, hashtag technofire. Something that I've used on the internet a lot because of it come out of Carl Cox's mouth, but he, I sort of obviously wanted to ask him a million questions, but I can't remember what the actual question was. I sort of said to him something similar to what you're asking me. He says, like, you know, what do you like about my tracks, or something like that, and he says, you know what, don't quote me on this, but it was something to this effect. This was about 5 years ago. He said something like, this is like at a time where techno's slowing down in BPMs and
of course.
you know, going a little bit deeper. He says, and all of a sudden your demos land on my lap. He says, and it put techno fire in my belly. He says, and he was just about to go to Time Warp, which is still online now on Beyer TV. I had like literally sort of like 10-15 minutes with him because he was about to go to Time Warp straight after this gig in Manchester, and he sort of finished off saying what he was saying, and you'll see if you lock into Beyer TV. And obviously because he prompted that, I went straight home, Beyer TV, Time Warp, and he played still one of the best sets that I've ever had, not just because he played so many of my tracks, but he just went, you know, at a time a lot of people like Adam Beyer and Fitzpatrick, who were always sort of end of the night DJs, they'd all sort of trying to push a new sound and went a bit deeper and slower, and Coxie just ripped it up, which was perfect for the German side, you know, and played I can't remember, 5 or 6 of my tracks in 1 3-hour set, and blew my mind, and that's where the term Techno Fire come from. It was something that he said when I asked him, you know, what is it you like about my tracks, and I think following on to actually finish off with your question, I sort of said this in my answer for the last question, and that is my aim is, because of who my influences are, big rooms, you know, I don't want people to wiggle and tap their toes, so I want people to be in their prime of their night. I want people, and it is being said, you know, I heard Carl drop your track at Awakenings, it was the best track of the night, the crowd went nuts. A video that I posted up when I was over in Belfast with him and Mark Green and
Bradley.
No, Bradley weren't at the Belfast one last week.
That
was Miami, but the Belfast crowd, by the way, crazy. Wow, it's like reminding me of the 90s, but he dropped one of my tracks and they were going nuts anyway. And it's actually a techno track with an old Hoover sample that just never goes away from the track, and he sort of teases. And the video's out there on my Instagram. I think you've seen it and commented on it. And it was just like a scene out of the old Muppets, you know, when they're all in the. It was just like, and that's, you know, when you ask me what's it feel like, you know, when Carl dropped your track. That, funnily enough, having this interview with you now, you know, that was a certain one that did hit me because of, you know, what happened in that crowd. Sort of like 11,000 people. You normally have your sweet spot, don't you, in a field or whatever, where like the hardcore are all at the front and they never stop dancing, but the others are all like, you know, muttering. But it was just like deep width. Everyone just went off, and you know, it was a special moment. And it's like that's where you get your satisfaction and drive to come from that. I mean, it's not just Carl that supports my tracks. Of, you know, nearly all the A-list elite. You know, through promo drops and feedback. It's just that he's documented online a lot more than the rest. But yeah, that's what makes you keep doing it. You know, at 40 now, been out there a long time. When moments like that, it makes it all worthwhile. The hours that a lot of people in the music scene, not the producers do, the DJs do, but a lot of people don't appreciate. It all makes it all worthwhile for us when the moments happen.
Well, no, actually, after his residency closed in Space Ibiza, which he did closing set for, didn't he? That was a Beyer TV. He did a big one on there, and he went through kind of all the genres over the 20 years of his revolution. That was a really good set that he did, actually. But since that, we've seen a lot more of Carl Cox. Well, I didn't, to be honest. But I've actually been seeing quite a lot of him recently. So I was just wondering, do you have any sneaky information that you could let us in on, you know, with what's coming up with Carl Cox? Anything exciting in the future?
Nothing more than pretty much, I think, it's just been announced out there, so I'm just reiterating that. A lot of people were worried he weren't going to return to Ibiza. Obviously, he did the 2 Pure Carl Cox last year. I think he did a Loco Dice birthday party for under the Hype banner. I went to that. And then this year, I haven't actually asked him this question, but I'm guessing that I'm somewhere near right. He's doing these one night stand brands and Game Over with his good buddy Dave Browning, I think is behind it, who was quite a big brainchild through especially the last sort of quarter of his space parties, Music Revolution and that. They're doing 3, I think it's just been announced, Patcha, Amnesia and DC-10s, He's doing 3 days. I think it's just come up on Carl's page either this morning or yesterday and on the Game Over page. And that's cool because it's, I'm kind of guessing, because Carl normally likes to pick a club that represents him. I suppose it's his way of saying, he's always said he ain't going back to space, which is high Ibiza, is it, or something now?
Yeah, changes. Or Shawar.
For him, I do believe it's well documented. That he wouldn't step in there again unless it was space and owned by the same owner, maybe. But I suppose what he's trying to do this year is stick his toe in and give a bit of coxie into the other sort of long-lasting, legendary clubs that are out there at the minute. And it'd be interesting. Unfortunately, I've checked the dates, can't make it to them all. I think it's just the Amnesia one. But I would have liked to see how Carl Cox went down at Pasha, because obviously over the years, primarily it's been not so hard techno kind of clubs. You sort of see the Renaissance boys go in there, and like the cool, trendy sort of housey people like Hot Since '82 and that. So. Yeah, the Pacha one, I suppose out of all the clubbing I've done, I would have liked to, unfortunately I can't, I'm elsewhere, but it'd be interesting. Carl Cox will never leave Ibiza, I know for a fact. He's got too much. I just think this year, I'm guessing, it's not hot information unfortunately, but I'm guessing through chats I have with him, and my own judgment, I'm guessing it's just, he's feeling his feet and seeing what's left out there, and I think we might just see him pick a new home. I don't think he'll ever be the same in space.
No, I don't think anything will ever be the same in space.
No, him and that club had a bond.
He was special.
And the people behind the club was special to him as well. And it's important that, it's DJ as big as Carl, that everything, every slice of the cake is tasty, and it was in space.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
So most importantly, guys, we must not forget why we're in Liverpool today. And that's because Phutek is actually headlining a new launch night tonight. Okay? So
Digital Underground.
Digital Underground. We're pretty damn excited about this, and we're going to be attending, of course. The event's being held at the North Shore Troubadour? Yep. Troubadour. Nice beach. And has a great list of DJs on the lineup, including Alicia Lawler and John Connor, just to name a few. But actually, I'm going to just let Phutek talk to you about this for a little bit, if that's okay, because we're pretty excited about it.
Quite looking forward to it. Guys that apparently, well known in Liverpool, Chris Butler and Robbie. I don't actually know them, strange enough, because I normally know everybody in every town. I'm a dinosaur, but I've through getting to know the lads running up to the event, very honoured that they've asked me to headline it, and I love coming to Liverpool full stop. As a club act and as a DJ, it's one of the top 5 towns, I would say, to come to, especially for techno as well. And I'm quite looking forward tonight. John Connor and Alicia Lawler are actually very, very good friends of mine. I've not met the 303 guys, but I know who they are, and I know they're very good. So there's a little bit of everything going on tonight, and most importantly, I'm normally, which is something I'm striving for, as you know from earlier on, I'm normally put on the end of the night religiously, and I'm not. I'm bang in the middle tonight.
12 till 2, guys.
And I like that. And I like that because I know Alicia likes to bang it out. And I know John comes from the same kind of stable as me, even though he's playing, some cooler techno now. He's come from a darko, so I think it's going to be a pretty heavy techno night. Because I never mess around anyway, because of my ethos is to get the room cooking. So if you're it's too late because this is going to be out after the event, but the night for those who see this, hopefully after, this is before, hopefully when you see this go online in the comments, let's see if I keep to my promise, that it's on till I think 4 or 5 o'clock. I'll finish at 2. With how hot it's been today, 28 degrees, you're going to have to be pretty hardcore to carry on through to John Connor's set and Alicia's, put it that way, because I ain't going to mess around, I can tell you that. Got loads of new tracks.
Well, we are going to be actually recording your set tonight.
Yes!
So not only will there be a review, and you can obviously watch this interview back, if you're watching it now, guys, then you should be getting on to Phutek's set, because we're going to have an hour recording of that.
And we'll let you off this time if you were too lazy to come to the event.
Definitely.
And we're going to give you this present of watching it in your armchairs. But next time, get off your arse and come and see it in real.
Yeah, definitely, because I'm sure there's going to be more. It's going to be a launch night tonight, but I'm sure it's going to go off well. So got high expectations anyway. So before we end, actually, what I'm going to do is just going to ask a few fun questions now.
Okay.
Throw you off the cuff a little bit.
I don't know nothing about these.
Okay. So, Phutek, what's the weirdest thing that you've requested on your DJ rider?
That's a question I love to ask, and I'm going to keep it clean, but I'm going to be still descriptive all the same. It's easy to remember because it was the first ride I ever got, even though I played some decent gigs through the 90s. It weren't until the legendary Torture Garden, for those that don't know, it was an S&M club, and yeah, I'd been there as a punter, friends who I was hanging around with, and I loved the ethos of it, you know, the freedom. It sort of went with all the other clubs that I liked in the 90s, trade, like anything goes, be who you are, but obviously on a more extreme level, you know, and I got to know the promoters before they booked me through a couple of gigs that they spotted me out in Camden and that, and yeah, this rider come through, and not being a big drinker or anything, you know, doing the old cranberry juice and champagne, that weren't in my locker. So, you know, people that know me really, really well, especially when I was younger, bit of a cheeky chappy. I require a very young Swedish-looking bird with plaits to appear underneath the mixer. And yes, and go to some naughty altercation, totally tongue-in-cheek, didn't actually mean it. Looking back now, a bit of young naivety to who I was actually sending that to. And the story ends clean for your own imaginations. Before I even mixed the second track in vinyl in them days, exactly what I put on that rider appeared into the mixer, and we'll leave it there. Yeah.
Right, so must have been magic.
Yeah, one of the fondest memories I ever have of queuing up my first mix in a club.
Okay, I'll leave it there then.
Yeah.
So if you could invite 3 artists to dinner, who would you invite and why?
I'm glad you said artists instead of DJs, because quite obvious really from the theme that we spoke. Sorry Fergie, but you're not in there. It'd be Tony, Carl. I'd love to have, I know that they cross paths, but I was never in their company in them days. Love to have them two together on my own. And the third one would be, because he's the only member of Depeche Mode I've not met in person, I've met all the others, is Dave Garn, the lead singer for Depeche Mode. They would be heaven for me, and if there's the one thing that has to happen before I die, well, the main thing is to actually play after Carl Cox. I'll happily step out in front of a bus after that happens. That's my last bucket list, but now you just brought that up, that's another bucket list. Would be, and unfortunately that's not going to happen because Tony's not with us, but the thought of it still gives me that same warm feeling as ever happening, because I'm so dedicated into the Depeche Mode, especially without actually having that dinner. I kind of know how it would go. I kind of know how it would go, and it'd be the perfect company for me. The music chat and things I would like to ask them and bounce off each other. It would be heaven. It'd beat any other thing. You know, I could, you know, any 3 hot women you could probably pull out. It would not defeat it on this occasion.
So following the year, what do you have coming up for us then over the next year that we don't already know about? Anything special?
Most exciting thing that's coming up this year, so far, the nearest, is only a few weeks away, and I'm really chuffed about this because I've got history with Fantasia. Fantasia are doing a festival, or in conjunction with Fantasia, it's all the same people, called Another World, which is down in Bristol, August the 3rd, 4th and 5th, and I'm totally honoured to play with Dave Clark, Johan Atkins, Dave Angel, there's a couple of others, a known architect, sorry if I missed out the others, but as you can just know by then the lineups, that is, and it's on the main stage as well on the Friday, so you know I'm not sort of working my way up anymore, it's sort of like, that's where I want to be, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, because taking nothing away from them artists, they're all brilliant artists, but I'm looking forward to mixing up with them. I hope I get a good set time if the promoters are watching, you know, read above the lines, program your music properly. I certainly don't suit a warm-up set, and I will punish you if you put me on early. There'll be no energy left for Dave Clark and Johan Atkins if you do. No, joking aside, I'm just so happy to be on them lineups, and they're the kind of lineups I want to be on, because on paper, if people like me as a producer, I truly believe and people that know me best, I'm actually a better DJ than I'm a producer. So kind of imagine, instead of hearing a little bit of me in Carl Cox's set, imagine hearing a full chunk of that for 2 hours, and you're gonna experience that later.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, man.
Well, guys, that's a wrap for today. I want to say, Phutek, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, for talking to us.
Cheers for having me.
We really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
If you want to check out any of Phutek stuff online, you can just search him up and type in Phutek. That's about Phutek. And you can find out anything else online on our website at www.thenoisegate.com. Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, just #TheNoiseGate. Cheers guys.
Cheers, thanks. Cheers for having us. Nice one.